Hi, how's everybody doing on this beautiful Friday Eve? I just had an appointment to get my nails done, and I was sitting talking to my nail tech, and she made a comment just out of the blue. We were just talking about life and motherhood and families, and we were talking about tradition versus like how people are these days, like with starting a family. And she said, it's some people who their parents, they don't meet the person they're dating until they're pregnant. Whereas back in the day, before you even took a woman out on a date, you had to meet her family and ask her parents for permission. So I laughed because she didn't know this, but that's actually what happened to me. With my oldest child, my parents did not meet his father until I found out I was pregnant. So we had a conversation going on and on about, what happened next. Because she was like, wow, I wasn't saying it to be funny. I was just saying that I know that that's something that happens. She was like, but since it happened to you, how did that go for you? What happened next? So I went on to tell her like the steps and things, how life progressed after that. And she said something so simple, but so meaningful. She said, kids make mistakes. And as parents, we don't want our kids to be basically the sum of their mistakes. We have to still accept our kids and their mistakes and try to help them, work through their mistakes and work through different situations in life so they don't make the same mistake again. And she was like, when you she said, sometimes when you get pregnant, it's a mistake, but the baby's not a mistake. She's like, the baby is a blessing. And she was like, as parents, even when our kids do things that we advise them not to do, or things that we maybe hoped or prayed that they wouldn't do, we as parents still need to see the blessing in those actions. She was like, for instance, in this case, it would be the baby. The baby is a blessing. The baby has nothing to do with how it got here. The baby itself is a blessing. So she said, like, in her culture, parents often would turn their backs on their kids in situations like that where they got pregnant out of wedlock and never talk to them again. She said, so then they're turning their backs on like the baby and their own child. And she was like, it's important that we don't do that, because you don't want to lose your child because you don't agree with something that they did. So all that in summary, it just came to, I was like, so often people in general, whatever type of relationship, parent, romantic, or business, they write others off based on a mistake or a misstep or disagreement. They completely turn their backs on someone who actually added value to their life, someone who meant something to them, somebody that they cared about. But because of this one thing, now that person isn't fit or worthy to be in your life. So when she was saying that, I just kept thinking like, that can go for any relationship. As a partner, as a parent, as an employee, as an employer, you don't want to completely turn your back on somebody and lose that person just because you don't agree with their decision, their choices, or their actions in a moment. Because one moment is just that. It's not someone's entire life. It's not someone's entire being. It's one moment that transpired. So on this fine Friday Eve, I was just thinking, we need to be more mindful, all of us, in all of our relationships, on what we consider to be that last straw, that last thing, or that one thing that makes us completely walk away from somebody or turn our back on somebody. Like one thing she said too, as a parent, that should not make you less proud of your child. That doesn't mean that you didn't do a good job with raising your child. That is no reflection on you. So you should still be proud of your child, because your child is still a product of you. Someone that you have poured into, that you have assisted in their development, and they're not bad. They just did something that you don't agree with. So same way, like I said, in our relationships, We just need to start being more mindful of, who we cut off. Every situation doesn't warrant cutting the string completely. There's situations that just warrant correction, a conversation. Communication is key. When you talk about things and talk through things, we all are enlightened. So just think about that. There may be someone that, you prematurely cut off. And it may be too, the one thing she said too about parents, their generation, the way they were raised, the things that they value. When you know better, you do better. So it may have been something you did because just traditionally that's how you behave. Traditionally that's your thought pattern, whatever. Maybe you were going through something at the time, but it might not be something that needs to be permanent. Maybe it was just a temporary break, a temporary cutoff, temporary disappointment. So what are your thoughts on that? Let's talk about that. What is something that you just completely cannot come back from? In my opinion, the only thing you can't come back from is death. If the person dies, okay, the relationship is dead forever. If you die, okay, the relationship is dead forever. But anything else I think is forgivable and deserves a conversation if you want it. So y'all let me know y'all thoughts on that. Bye. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.